Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 100 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League show and podcast. I am your host, the self-proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex, and joining me today are my usual suspects, plus a special guest of Barry Stokes and Scott Williams. Scott, we made it. 100 episodes. How are you feeling?
100. Yeah, it's been a slog, hasn't it? I was a lot slimmer when we started this. The world was a very different place. But here we are. We're here, we're happy, we're smiling. And yeah, it's great to see your beautiful faces everywhere.
That's lovely. Thanks, Scott. I can always go. Always rely on you for a deep and meaningful start. Baz, how are you feeling? How's it going?
Good, happy, excited. Can't wait for this 100 show. Got obviously Martin's special guest and a guy from over the pond. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Nice one. And Martin Weal, welcome back to the podcast because you've been on before, haven't you?
All appearances, yeah.
Yes, a little while ago. For those of you who don't know, at the very inception of the All in Football podcast, before it became the All in Football Fantasy Premier League podcast, myself, Scott, Martin, Tom, and Cully all came up with the idea, and Martin was the guy who came up with the graphics and all of the other little things that I still use today.
The theme song is my biggest claim to fame.
It's a quality theme song, and that way the Martin Weal is the reason for that being it. So, Martin, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing really good. It's a much better looking lineup than it once was on the podcast, so I'll give you guys that.
I hope Cully and Tom listen to this.
Yeah, me too.
just for that reason. Tom's literally just messaged me as well. He really wants to come on for a bit, but he is out of work today. But I want to start off by thanking the listeners and the viewers for tuning in over the last 100 episodes. We've had nearly 3,000 downloads of our podcast. 3,400 YouTube views, and we've got 371 followers, 45 subscribers, and we've had people listen to this podcast in 45 different countries across the world, which is pretty amazing, actually, considering we just started it for a little bit of fun, and only 60% of the listeners are in the UK. So I've got to do a really big shout out to the guys in America. So we have quite a few people listening in America. We have a very loyal listener in Belgium who listens every week. So thank you for listening every single week to us. Big shout out to you. And we've got a bit of traction recently in France, funnily enough. God knows why. But yeah, so thank you to everyone for listening, tuning in, and downloading. So, right, let's do the usual start to the podcast. Let's talk about manager of the week, and we've got two managers of the week to give out. So we're halfway through game week 31 last time we spoke, and the manager of week for game week 31 was only one of Martin's friends from work, Stephen Goodall, with 99 points. Did take a -4, but 99 points is a fantastic return. Neto, Gabriel, Udogi, Baz's friend Zabrani, Baz. He had Foden with his hat-trick, Palmer with his hat-trick, and captain Maddison, Son, Bowen, Muniz, and Darwin Núñez. Got to give a shout-out as well to Jack Tomlinson, who got 95 points and didn't take a -4, but still, that means Stephen's manager of the week. And manager of the week for game week 32 was Marcus Swift, if this is going to load for me at any point. And Marcus got a grand total of 87 points. Where is he? He's there. Falling apart again. I'm a huge Leeds fan, Marcus. He got 87 points. Martinez, Doherty, Pedro Porro with 11, Romero, Kevin De Bruyne, Saka, Ward-Prowse, Gordon, Ollie Watkins, captain, Solanke, and Semenya. Don't know when the last time he touched his team was, but who knows? Let's
with that as well. Avid listener of Phil Allen was like going, "Am I manager of the week? Am I manager of the week?" And I looked and I was like, "Yeah, you are." And then Porro scored and I was like, "No, you're not." So he was quite distraught about that, and I was actually up there for a bit, and then I think Rory's up there as well.
Yeah, Rory's up
there, and obviously Scott as well. So yeah, we kind of all had good weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, you didn't you all? You all had good
weeks.
Yeah,
just want to dig that in.
Well done to you guys. Yeah, well, this is things. So we're gonna the big news this week, really. I mean, the double game weeks have been announced and all this, that, and the other. But the biggest news is this week is the first week of the All in Football Podcast Cup. It's huge. It's on. For all of us that have got nothing left to play for this season, that's all four of us here on this podcast right now. We have nothing left. We're full on Ian Beeling this season. We have now got something to play for, and it's the Cup. So congratulations to Marcus Swift, Phil Hallam, Rory Kelly, Daniel Nifimi, Barry Stokes, and Scott Williams. You all got buys. The rest of us are all playing in the Cup this week. So there are some big ties this week, actually. One of which is Martin Weal. You're playing our reigning champion, aren't you? We'll find it. You've got Len. How do you feel about that?
A little bit nervous. He knocked me out last year on his run to the victory, and so it's opened up some old wounds. Thinking that was an easy passage to the final for me, but yeah.
I've got
one just caught my eye there. Sorry, Alex.
No, go on.
I don't know if you're going to touch on it, but Richard Kerr versus Gavin Webb. That's a bit of a battle, isn't it?
It is, both quite near the top, both paying very close attention this season. So one of the big players is going to fall there. I'm quite worried because I've got one of the Tomlinson family, and they seem to perform very well from time to time. I think that's a big old banana skin for me this week. A bit nervous about that one. Adrian Chippendale, former champions.
I'd say he's gone 5 weeks without doing a transfer, Alex, David Tomlinson. So
yeah, it's one of those weeks though, isn't it, where there'll be loads of rotation for like Arsenal and City because of the Champions League, and it depends who starts and who plays. The game that I'm most excited about, I can't. Well, there's 2 games, but the one I'm most excited about is Neil Ladd versus Cully Mathrew. I think that's it's an absolute clash of the Titans, right?
Box office, definitely.
Well, Neil wants to get him back. Well, say Cully wants to get him back for Neil crashing into him go-karting in Krakow that time. And then he's one of my favourite memories I've ever got. Sorry, Cully.
Big man Jerome.
Still got whiplash, Cully, from that one. We've got Dan Clark against Jack Alcroft, so that's a big one as well. So yes, pay attention to this. The Cup's back. Whoever wins it gets to appear on the podcast and win no prize whatsoever, but you get pride. So it's a big one for you. A couple of big announcements as well. Double game weeks. So Mr. Krellin's back, Scott, our pal. Our pal Ben.
Benjamin.
So what's in purple has just basically been confirmed as we thought it would be. So the double game week for 35 has been announced for Chelsea and Spurs. They'll be playing each other in game week 35. And then game week 37 has double game weeks for Chelsea, Spurs, Man City, Brighton, Newcastle, and Man United. So those are the double game weeks there. I'll come to you first, Baz, on this. Obviously, we've kind of known what the situation's going to be like for a little bit. What's your thinking been in terms of forward planning, especially for Chelsea and Spurs assets with 2 double game weeks? They're the ones with the most matches left to play. What are your thoughts been?
So obviously I wildcarded on 31, and was it 30 or 31? One of them two. And my aim was bench boosting on 34 because I like them fixtures and I like the teams that were playing going forward. And I'm going to obviously free hit in 37. So I've got 2 Chelsea and I've got no Spurs at all. So on game week 35, I'll be bringing probably a Tottenham asset in, unsure which one. Yeah. So that was my take on it. I thought, right, I'm bench boosting on 34 because the fixtures suit up better for me with the players I picked. So, and that's obviously how I'm going. And obviously, with my mistake in not getting Palmer in and picking Bowens, cost me. But I got him in this week, and I made him captain, and he didn't really do as well, but he got an assist. So that all that matters.
And Scott, your chip strategy for me, I'm most likely looking at a free hit 37. I think to take advantage of these doubles, which means that I probably won't end up having a Spurs asset really. Maybe until game week 38, might bring one in for Sheffield United. But what are your thoughts off the back of about the fixture release?
Yeah, I'm just sort of looking at my team now. Got a couple of, I've got three Liverpool assets. Three Liverpool assets, two Liverpool assets. Three Liverpool assets.
You got Keller as well, haven't you, as Darwood and Salah?
Yeah, of course I have, yeah. So I've got 3 Liverpool assets, got 2 Arsenal already. 3 Arsenal, that's 6 of my players already there. I have a cheeky Adam Smith in there for a double. I've got a Wolves defender. So yeah, no question. I'll be looking at sort of getting some good players in for 34. I think one thing for people like me, if that they're thinking that sort of strategy, is not to maybe get excited by a fixture by a team that's not going to double in 34 if it's just sort of a one-off fixture. So I'm just trying to sort of glance down. I mean, if you were like maybe thinking, I might get a Chris Wood in, is someone like that. Who have Forest got for an example? Spurs away is an awful example.
I love that awful.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's game week 33 next. So Spurs, they've got Wolves at home next because game week 33 is next game week.
Yeah. So don't I would say don't get carried away by bringing a player in for 33 just because I've got one good fixture in 33. You want to try and prioritise having a double in 34 if you can. So just do that little bit of forward thinking, and then you've got nothing else then to worry about really because you're gonna free hit 37. So have fun with that.
Yeah, well, if you're not free hitting 37, then you're probably going to be ignoring Chelsea and Spurs until game week 35 anyway, aren't you? Let's be honest. And then at that point, you can start piling in on those guys if you want to. Martin, your chip strategy for the rest of the season, if work let you think about fantasy football?
Yeah, so I don't have a free hit because I used it in the blank. So I set up my wild card ready to bench boost in 34 and then navigate my transfers ready for 37. Although a couple of injuries to like Altnouri and I think one of my other players went off as well. Gusto didn't appear, so a little bit worried about 34. Might end up bench boosting 37 and building my team towards that. But yeah, I won't be too mad about having sort of Chelsea and Spurs assets in for the remainder of the season because they can end up being in these kind of high scoring end-to-end matches. So it's quite exciting to actually have them in the team anyway. So yeah, that's that kind of strategy. Hopefully bench boost 34.
Yeah, so for me, I'm looking at a bench boost 34, and then just gathering it in for the rest of the season. But we now know how we're going to look at planning, and I think a couple of the teams we're going to focus on in a little bit more detail in a second are Liverpool and Arsenal because they're two of the teams really who have both got half decent fixtures. We're going to Arsenal have got Villa at home, and Villa aren't exactly the easiest team to play against in the world, but they've got double game week coming up, so we're going to focus on those guys a little bit more depth. But before we do that, Tom, are you there?
Just like magic. Look at that time.
Oh, here he is. Tom Hughes is back, everybody. So we just not had Cully. He's working. He's like, I can't take 5 minutes. I'm like, whatever. You're hardly working, Cully. Come on.
What's he possibly doing that would stop him from doing this? If he's not at goals, he's not working, is he? So
yeah, exactly. I wanted to have because Tom, you have no idea what's going on in fantasy football this year, do you? Really?
Oh, I was just listening to all of that conversation and some of the words that were getting thrown around, and I was like, how was I ever even remotely in touch with what was going on? Because I've got absolutely no clue what's happening. Mike was talking about when he's using his free hit, getting his team ready for week 37. I was like, I've completely, I've got no idea. I'd have to learn it all over again.
Do you know what's really annoying, Scott? And I'm looking at Scott right now, thinking, Tom's going to be really into it for the rest of the season. Use all his chips and try win the cup. And you know what he's going to do.
Cold, isn't he?
It's like, last 5 weeks, Leeds might be back. I need to get back in touch.
We're just saying, Tom, you nearly fluked manager of the week.
Did I?
I'm not touching your team.
See, it's just about consistency, isn't it? Stick with get that team sorted from the start of the year. I think I've had Haaland like captain for the entire season, pretty much, even in game weeks where he's not been playing. So yeah,
it's really frustrating when Tom's probably ahead of me in the table still, I think, and I've actually been trying this year as well.
You tinker too much, Alex. You always did. You
Minus
just love
fours.
to tinker.
That's it. I just love it too much. That's my favourite bit, the planning. I wanted Tom and Martin over to you two at this point, because I did want to ask you both about Leeds and the Championship, and who you think is going to be coming up from the Championship, and who we should be looking out for next season potentially in terms of FPL. Before I open the floor to you, we've got to do a big shout out to Stuart Dallas for one of our favourite FPL assets from an FPL podcast perspective. That season, Bielsa's first season in the league, when he got 171 points as a 4.5 million defender, and he was playing midfield and he scored that goal. I mean, what an asset. So a big shout out to Stuart Dallas. Tom, Martin, over to you two. You've got 5 minutes, then I'm cutting you off.
Well, I like that you wait for me to come on, so you've got real Leeds fans to answer that question. No, I'm joking. Who knows at this point? I really don't know. There's four games left. We weren't very good last night, and we weren't good the game before that. In fact, we've not been good since we lost to Chelsea, and we've still managed to pick up points, which is a sign of a good team, I suppose. But it really depends. I think mostly on Ipswich at this point, because I do think although Leicester lost to Millwall, I think they'll go on and win the rest of their games. They've still got a game in hand. So I do think a lot of it depends on what Ipswich do. They've got 2 tough fixtures against Coventry and against Hull, both away from home, I think. So that'll be difficult for them. In terms of assets in those teams, I mean, Leicester, I think there's a couple of decent players that came down with them. But in terms of Ipswich, annoyingly, Leif Davis at left back has got so many goal involvements this year. So if they do come up, he'd be quite a nice, I'm guessing he'd be like 4.5 million maybe in the game. He'd be a really good budget option. He gets forward a lot the way Ipswich play. And if you look at their stats this year, they score loads of goals. They concede loads, but they score loads of goals. So I think they'll carry on doing that in the Prem, even if they get smashed 4-2 every week.
Martin, what do you think about Leeds' chances and who's coming up with them?
Yeah, I still fancy our chances. I think the 3 strongest teams will go up. I'm not sure what automatic versus playoffs is going to look like, and obviously for a Leeds fan, playoffs is not where we want to be because our history there isn't that good. But I'd like to think that the 3 strongest teams end up going up. In terms of our assets, I think some of those, the one I'd look at as hopefully a sort of 5 million midfielder enabler next season. He's going to probably try and stick on penalties as well, depending on who we sign. Maybe Nonto if it's a cheap option, but I wouldn't go as far as putting any of our other assets in there. I imagine we'll be quite leaky as well. Leif Davis was my shout, actually. Yeah, he plays basically left wing for Ipswich, and would be a defender. Great shout. I think Leicester will end up splashing some cash, but we'll have to see how much they do there. But they have some good wingers, don't they, in their team?
Yeah, and Dewsbury Hall's had a lot of goal involvements this year as well.
Yeah, they're going to get minus points, though, aren't they, when they go up? So I'm not sure how that's going to affect them as well if they just prepare for the Championship straight away again.
Yeah. And what Mike just said about Somerville as well. Somerville, there's a good chance that he gets bought by somebody. I'm not saying guaranteed, but even if we go up, there's a good chance he gets bought. So if he goes to a top 10 Premier League team, then he's probably even more worth looking at because he's going to get more action up at the top end of the pitch. So yeah.
One final question for you on it. Two quick fire. First of all, yes or no, do you think you'll get promoted automatically? And then, if you don't get promoted automatically, do you think you'll do it through the playoffs? I will come to you first, Martin.
I think we're going to do it through the playoffs. I think it's going to be horrible.
Oh, God.
I think it's going to be us and Norwich in the final. Not Norwich, sorry, Southampton. Because I think we'll play Norwich semis, and then I think we'll play probably Southampton in the final. I'm going to back us to do it through the playoffs.
Tom, put it on the line.
I hate this because it's going to come back to bite me, whatever I say. But I'm going to, do you know what? I'm going to say that we will do it last day of the season against Southampton. I think we'll get it done in the league. I don't know whether it's Ipswich or Leicester that fall off, but we're going to win it. We're going to get promoted on the last day of the season against Southampton.
Exciting time. Well, thanks for that, lads. There was a good bit of chat there. I know you've got to shoot, Martin, now, haven't you? At this point in time, you've got to have some nice dinner, which sounds very nice. So thank you ever so much for joining us at this point.
Yeah, no problem. Out to celebrate Eid, So I will leave you guys to it. Thank you for inviting me on.
No, thank you for coming. Tom, do you want to stick around 5 minutes, discuss some Liverpool and Arsenal assets? Have you got 2 minutes?
Yeah, I'll listen in and try and realise just how far I've fallen from when I nearly won it against Jeff that year.
What a time that was. So let's talk about Liverpool to start with, because they had a really lucky draw against Man United at the weekend, as we all know. I mean, Kobbie Mainoo is a legend. They have Crystal Palace at home this week, and then it follows up with a double game week, probably the best double game week, Fulham away and Everton away. And then they do have West Ham to follow up. So they've got decent fixture run. Luis Diaz did it again at the weekend, Scott. We had this conversation last week, didn't we? You very nearly had him. He's their top performing player over the last 10 game weeks with 66 points. Talk to me about Liverpool and talk to me about the players that we should be looking at potentially bringing into our teams this week.
Yeah, Diaz again, getting up decent. He's quite like a patchy player, but I think when we say like players are kind of patchy, I think most players are, unless they're a freak, like just constantly doing Salah. We would say Haaland last season, maybe not so much this season, just week in, week out. So, yeah, I think if you've not got Salah, you just need to have Salah. You're an idiot. If not, just stop playing fantasy football, because the way he took that penalty for like that, that it could turn around at the end of the season. That might be the point they need to win the league. So, so cool under pressure. Darwin for me is not a bad asset to have up top. It's a bit of a tricky one now. You probably want Haaland in your team, especially with Luton next game. Didn't watch the game against Real last night, but from what I've seen all over social media, he wasn't really there. So but we've seen Haaland come back with that. But so, do you want Darwin in? Ollie Watkins is back in form. I still think Kelleher is a good shout. However, is Alisson almost back, or am I getting confused with Edison, the other Brazilian keeper?
I know. I think Edison was on the bench, so he's pretty close to being back. Alisson. I know that Trent and Jota have been training. I think Alisson's a little bit further away.
Yeah, he's 50% on fantasy, so probably still not maybe a bad shout getting Keller in at this point. But again, do you want to be doing transfers further down the line for a keeper? Probably not. So actually, I'm going to go back on my statement I did 2 seconds ago. I wouldn't be wasting a transfer on Kelleher for a keeper at this point when he's going to be coming out of the team in a couple of games' time. It's not like Liverpool aren't going for if Liverpool were comfortable in third, and they may even be looking at resting him for the run in Europe, but they're not going to. There's no chance of them doing that. I still think actually Bradley, I thought he looked really good and really dangerous against Man United. He was just getting into like right wing positions all the time. I actually had him to on an accumulator to have a shot at any point, and I was on target. I was like, this is definitely coming in. He just looks super, super dangerous. So he would be one that I would still be keeping an eye on at this point. So for me, if I was to sort of wild card now, my 3 would be Salah, Bradley, and Diaz at this point. But I don't think Nunez is ticking over still, isn't he? And he seems to play quite consistent.
Baz, your thoughts? Anything different? Any variation on that?
I wouldn't have Bradley because Trent Alexander-Arnold's coming back. So I disagree with Scott on that front because we hadn't disagreed for a while. So I thought might as well.
I don't think he gets dropped. He didn't get dropped. He wasn't going to get dropped last time, was he? But then his dad died. So
but for me, where are you going to play Trent then? You can play Trent in midfield then. But
sitting on the bench till he maybe comes on England midfield.
Yeah. So for me, mine would be Diaz at the moment because, as you mentioned, Alex is top performing at the moment and he's looking undroppable. Even though Jota's obviously coming back from injury and Gakpo's doing well coming off the bench, but Gakpo's more a Europa League player. Salah, obviously, and I'd have Darwin, but for me, you've got quite a few striker options there. Obviously, Solanke's not looking great for the double game week, but you've got Isaac, who's in incredible form at the moment as well. So it's quite tough there to think, shall I have Darwin or shall I have Isaac or shall I have Solanke or Watkins?
The thing is with Isaac is that he's got Spurs at home and then they've got a single game week of Palace away. And I know Palace haven't exactly been doing well, even under the new manager, but like, I just feel like, would you have Darwin against Palace at home and then a double game week of Fulham of Everton, or would you have Isaac against Spurs and Palace? I know they've got really good fixtures in 35 and 36. He's the sort of player that if you don't have your free hit left, someone like Isaac from game week 35 for me, I would be like, Isaac 35 onward. But I probably wouldn't get him before then. I'd be looking at the double game week side of things. I don't know. That's what my take is on it. But he does look in great form. Comparison to, notably, obviously, we only spoke about Bradley there in terms of defenders. Arsenal have only conceded 2 goals in their last 6 Premier League games, 1 goal in the last 5. Quite clearly the best defence in the league at the moment. I've seen a few double ups going around in terms of defences because they're the only ones that seem to be keeping any clean sheets, because this season no one's keeping any clean sheets, are they? What's your take on Arsenal assets, Baz, and potentially defensive investment?
So I'll be definitely getting one in on game week 34. I'm not jumping at this week because they got Villa. Yeah. So it's one of them where who do I go for? Because Kivior plays and Zinchenko plays. Am I going to invest even more money? Obviously, my gamble of having a cheap defence. Obviously, I've got money in the bank to actually go that more because obviously I transferred Bowen out to get Palmer in because I didn't want to be left without him. So for me, I'd have Havertz for definite because he's got ridiculous form at the moment and he scored the most points in the last couple of game weeks I've seen on something even more than Palmer. So that's pretty impressive. Saka, and that's it for now. But obviously, game week 34, you'd be definitely getting a defender, and I don't think a clean sheet's there. But for me, that's the only 2 I would be getting in because I don't want to triple. I don't want to triple Arsenal midfield. So
I have to disagree with you there, Baz. He's got 19 points in the last 2 game weeks, and Palmer's had 25.
His run in the last 7 is 12, 14, 14, 7, 3, 5, and 14. So he's obviously been in incredible form, and it's a great pick. Scott's brought him in the wild card and done a really good job on that one. I went for Odegaard over that one. What are your thoughts then on which defender you would pick, Baz? Which one would you go?
probably Ben White.
5.9. 5.9 as well for Saliba. Gabriel at 5.4. Scott, your take on Arsenal defenders, keeper?
Yeah, Ben White for me. I think his points in the last couple of game weeks, he's so close to getting double figures there as well. Like the positions he's getting in, and he's nearly getting assists. And I think he's gone 6-6-5 last 3 game weeks. Prior to that, he went 11-13. I won't be surprised if there was a little run again with double figures. And like you say, with most people have got money, so I don't think and like you said, no one's keeping clean sheets except for Arsenal. So why not spend a bit more on their most exciting attacking defender as well?
I totally agree. If I was wild carding now, it'd be White and Saliba at the same price. I've had Saliba since the start of the season. He was 5 mil. That's why I've still got him. But yeah, if you compare the 2 now. Tom, I'll ask your opinion more from a footballing perspective, and also get your very brief opinion as well on the title race, on who you think it's who might be winning that, if you paid any attention to the Premier League this year. A little bit.
Just a little bit. Well, I mean, it's funny because now I'm looking at my team because you were talking about me potentially going on a cup run, and I was just listening there and thinking like, right, okay, there's a couple of doubles coming up, so I can take advantage of those. So thanks. I've not got a wild card left, but I have got a free hit left. So maybe I'll use that in like, is it week 34? You just said the next one. So
bench boost 34, free hit 37 is my plan. But you could free hit
mine will be very
easily
different because my team's probably a load of crap right now. So.
Yeah, you'd probably free hit 34 then, wouldn't you, if you've not touched your team for a while, or you if you haven't used your wild card.
I mean, I'm like you. I've had Saliba in all year, and every time I do briefly log on and have a look at what happened 3 weeks ago in fantasy football, Saliba seems to have got some points. So, you know, but I don't know. Like Ben White, yeah, obviously he's doing really well. I think that it's interesting that England snub. See how that kind of impacts him. I know he's the one that has decided to step away from that, but I just think that was quite a big controversy. So can he kind of carry on without letting that impact him? But I suppose it helps if it was his decision. Yeah, in terms of the title, I just got you've always got to back Man City, haven't you, because of the assets that they've got at their disposal. But I just think it might be Arsenal's year this year. They've shown, you know, that draw against City, I think was really kind of underrated. That was a really big point for them. I know they didn't play very well. They kind of like were very defensive in that game. It was an awful game to watch for a potential title clash. But I think Arsenal might just have got enough resilience over the last 12 months to see it through. So yeah, they do have the hardest fixtures though, from what I looked at. I wasn't actually looking from a fantasy perspective. I was looking from a who's going to win the title perspective, and I did look at it and thought their fixtures felt slightly harder to me. I don't know if I'm wrong or right there, or what you think.
I mean, they have still got Villa at home, Spurs away, Man U away to play. So those are a couple of really, really tough games there. Liverpool have got Spurs at home, but they have also got Villa away as well. And Manchester City, they've still got to go to Brighton away, but Man City and Spurs away. But City have got the best fixtures.
Yeah,
for the run in. I think it's back in Arsenal's hands now, isn't it? I think that's one of the big things.
That Brighton game will be big because Brighton have got, you know, the ability to go and turn anyone over on their day. So that game will be interesting. Villa, obviously, I think all of them have got, or Liverpool don't have to play Villa anymore, do they? But
yeah, they do. 37.
Liverpool play Villa. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. So Villa could be the team that decide it then.
Yeah. Could be. It's going to be really tight, and it's exciting, and it's very weird being an Arsenal fan this year. I can't lie. Feels a bit odd, but come on, the Gunners. That's what I'm hoping for. Which is just it. Literally, it's the Gary Neville saying. I absolutely loved that when he got asked that question years ago in the Liverpool City. It's like choosing someone that your wife to cheat on you with. Isn't it really? You're trying to choose who's going to win the league. I'm choosing Arsenal. So there you go. Lads, some people will be deciding here between Liverpool and Arsenal assets this week. I think that's going to be one of the key questions that they're going to be asking themselves, right? Which one, if you aren't on a wild card, which one or two, if you're taking -4s, you've got 2 free transfers, are you going to be bringing in this week? So I want you to nail your cards to the mast, whatever. 2 players, Scott. Which are the 2 key ones? If you don't have them, you need to be bringing in.
You don't have any Arsenal Liverpool players?
Yeah, none of them. I want your top 2.
Yeah, well, if anyone is in this position, just delete your team. This game's not for you. And Mo Salah, without a shadow of a doubt. And I would say it's a tough one. This. I'd be looking at still midfield. And I would go, it's close, but Saka.
Okay. Baz, I'm going to ask you if you have Salah and Saka already, because you like to be the differential guy. So so are you going for Diaz, Havertz, Darwin, investing in the defence of Arsenal? Pick 2.
I'm going obviously Salah and my man Kai.
You've got him already. You've got him.
King Kai Havertz. I've got him already, but King Kai, they're the 2. I didn't have any. King Kai and Salah.
Okay. If you had Salah already?
Diaz.
Yeah. I'm Havertz and Diaz. as well. If I have Saka and Salah already, right? We've got someone waiting in the waiting room, Baz. I think it's that time. It's that time for the differential draft, and then we'll go back to some individual players.
Tom getting involved as well with his research.
Can you imagine Tom trying to do
Jesus. It'll make me look good.
It'd be even worse than Scott. It would be even worse. Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. It's been great to see your face again, and good luck to Leeds getting promoted, and then you'll be back on this podcast a lot more often next season.
If Leeds get promoted, then my interest peaks again. So I'll be back all over it again. But thanks for having me on, and see you soon.
Great stuff. Thanks, Tom. Take care. Right, we've admitted Guy Ferguson. He's connecting to audio at this very moment in time, and we will go for our differential draft. Guy, can you?
Good morning. I can hear you just fine.
I like that. Good morning, and it's nearly evening here. So good afternoon to you.
It's lunch for me, so that's good.
Well, thank you ever so much for joining us. Whereabouts across the pond are you?
I'm in North Carolina, East Coast, about mid-distance between Atlanta and Washington.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Not somewhere where I've ever been, but I'm sure it's. I've been to the usual places in America: New York, San Francisco, and Las Vegas. Because where else?
You hit some good ones. Yeah, you hit the good ones there.
Thank you very much. Well, very excited to have you on this week because every single week you seem to just beat us a differential draft.
So it's fun. It's fun. I like the differential draft a lot.
Yeah, it's and you have Barry Stokes to thank for that. And Baz, are you going to treat us this week? Are you just going to go for under 1% only, or what are you going to do?
I could do it. I ain't got a striker though. That's the only problem. I might have to float the boat and go under 5 on that one.
Under 5. How are we going to do it? What's the order then?
So the scores. Unfortunately, Guy didn't win this week. Unfortunately, Guy, you didn't win. Scott Williams won by 1 point. He beat you by.
Come on.
He got 22. So we got Scott had Kelliher with 2, Semedo 1, Barnes 1, Havertz was the main man for him with 14, and Timo Werner with 4, and it finished with 22. Guy, you got 21. You got Jose Sarr, Tarkowski, Paqueta, McGinn, and Jackson. I finished bottom because I picked Chilwell for some strange reason. He said he was ill on FPL, but he's out with a knee injury. So the order is I'll go first, then Alex, then you, Guy, then Scott. So
I'm in a lot of trouble here. 4-way going last.
Yeah.
When was the worst week to win? It was last week.
Yeah.
We'll get cracking with the draft. We'll get on with that, and then I want to ask Guy a little bit about FPL, but we'll do the draft first.
Sure.
We're all ready to go, and I've got my app loaded up. So let's get cracking. So who's first to pick you, Baz? Isn't it?
It is, yeah, and I'm not giving Guy any chance this week, so I'm going straight out under 10 midfielder Brian Mbeumo.
Very nice. I'm going to get my under 10 picked already for a striker. I'm going to get Ivan Toney picked, 9.2.
Well, you took my actual first choice, which was Mbeumo, so I will take Flecken.
Oh, it's my keeper going.
I'm going to go under 1% as my first pick. And I'm going to go Conor Gallagher.
Oh, lovely.
Just writing them down because Scott always forgets.
Hey, I've got my pen and paper here. I'm prepared for this 100th episode.
I'm going to pick my striker, and I'm going for Mr. Inform, Chris Wood.
Lovely. Really good pick, that one, Baz. I'm going to go for, I think City are going to be rotating against Luton. And I'm going to go for Doku, the most frustrating player ever to be watched, along with Adama Traore, I think, in the history of FPL. But this could be his week. He's got a good week in him. So Doku at 1.8%.
I'm going to go with my sub 1%, and I'm going to take Rico Lewis.
Love that one. I had him down at 0.5 as well. That was on the list.
I had him down here. I was actually going to go next. I was going to bet about 2 under 1%. I'm going to go for Baz's boy. Going to go for Nicholas Jackson. Why not? Banner.
You didn't go for my boy, because my boy's going to be my pick now. I'm going for Hudson-Odoi.
Oh,
I love that from you, Baz. I'm going to go for, just because I absolutely love him, Kobe Mainu, 0.8%. Go for my under 1.
Nice.
We up to me again?
Absolutely.
Let's say Calvert-Lewin.
2 and 2. 2
2.
and 2.
Yeah.
Is he back? Is he not? I don't know yet. We'll wait and see, but I like that.
Cool. There's a big chance he gets rotated. There's a big chance to get no points here. Well, let's go John Stones.
It's a big chance.
I'm going to pick Reguilon.
You love Reguilon, don't you? You just love him. We've had Flecken's the only keeper that's gone, isn't it?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll go for Petrovic at 2.5 then, because no one's keeping a clean sheet anyway. What's the point this year?
It's true. It's true.
Mm.
Okay, me again?
Yes.
I will take Decore.
Oh, I like that pick.
Going big on Everton. Someone said Doku, didn't they?
Yeah, me.
I picked it up. Do I just gamble? Do we do the gamble? Yeah, I'm just going to gamble. We're gambling. Jack Grealish.
You've gone for rotation nation. You haven't.
Yeah, I might get 0 points. Yeah,
could be the lowest score ever. Baz.
I'm picking my keeper, and it's Fabianski,
Nice.
ex-Swansea player.
I'm going to go for Andy Robertson, 3.3%. Get my defender in.
All right. Well, I've got an open spot here for midfield. I'm going to go with Szoboszlai.
Yes.
Yeah. He looked. Do you know what? He looked so dangerous at the weekend against Man United.
Really?
Yes, he did.
Petrovic, is he gone? Keeper?
Stop winding me up.
He has gone, right? Okay. I was so confident he hadn't gone. Then I'm not gonna lie. Okay. I don't know. Shall we go? Let's go for. I know Flecken's gone.
You haven't used your under 10, have you?
Yeah, Jackson's 5.1. Little snake.
You used your under 10 on a 5.1 Jackson.
Yeah, that's how we roll, baby. Let's go. Sorry, give me 4 seconds. Count me down.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Kaminsky. Bruggen.
Oh no. No, nearly guessed it. He's had a few starts in a row for Bruggen, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's rotation risk as well, and that's why I thought I'd go for him.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got rotation nation for Scott. So Petrovic, Robertson, Doku, Mainu, and Ivan Toney for myself. Baz?
For me, Fabianski, Reguilon, Mbeumo, Hudson-Odoi, and Wood.
Guy?
Calvert-Lewin, Szoboszlai, Decore, Rico Lewis, and Flecken.
Lovely. And Scott?
For Bruggen, John Stones, Conor Gallagher, Jack Grealish, Jackson. Don't know why I had full names, some of them, and not others.
I enjoyed it. So what we'll do is we'll get those on socials. We'll get Guy involved in the vote this week. We'll get and we'll see what the people think. So everyone take part on the Instagram story in particular. That is where the poll will be. Guy, so your FPL season. What's your FPL experience? Have you played for a number of years? Are you quite new to it?
It's my 3rd year playing. My son-in-law and my daughter have played. My son-in-law is very good. He's 114,000 in the world. He's always been very, very good at this. And then my son got involved, and they brought me in about 3-4 years ago, and I've loved it. I enjoy our fantasy sports here in the United States for baseball and football, our oblong football. But I've been a fan watching English football. First match I think I ever saw was Coventry versus Tottenham in 1981.
Oh, wow.
I'm old, gentlemen. I'm an old. So, and then the next match I saw was an FA Cup final between Coventry and Tottenham. So I was thinking for a while they're the only two teams in England, and it just emerged from there. And I'm a historian. I love the Hotspur reference for Harry Hotspur, and so it just inspired me, and I enjoy it.
Oh, that. So are you would you call yourself a Spurs fan then for the English League? There we go. There it is. I couldn't see that shirt there.
I can wear the company flag, but I get to decorate myself a little bit there.
Nice. I love that. And if you've watched the YouTube version of this podcast, you see Barry often comes on in a Wales top or a Swansea top, just to try and get the shout outs. We do a lot of England and obviously Premier League chat. Your season's been quite an interesting one. Not the greatest start in the world, but you've had only three red arrows since game week 18. So what's changed? What have you done different? Or is it just dumb luck, or what is it? That's what it feels to me sometimes.
Partially. It is, when you look at how delicate the balance is, Barry's 1,840 points. I'm 1,756. That's the difference of 3 points per week. And that's all it comes down to move yourself a million and a half spots in the ranking. I've just gotten kind of a little bit more attuned to don't try and do what everybody else is doing. The differential draft has helped me enormously with that. Being able to find those little nuggets hidden somewhere. And it's good not to be just doing the same thing everybody else is. You have no reason to. Why do that? It's boring.
Totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why. I think from my place, I've played for too many years, over 10 years of the game, and I've known if you try and go too different, you end up screwing yourself over. But if you try and find talk about the sort of little nuggets, those individual players, if you can go 3 or 4 different to the 15 or 11 that people have, 11 starting 11, 15 squad. That's where the difference is to make your way up the rankings to get yourself really quite high. I mean, I think pretty much everyone can follow a template and come sort of 3 millionth in the world, 2 millionth in the world quite comfortably. But then it's also when you press that button on going the captain that's different. And I mean, that's what I got totally wrong at the beginning of last season. I mean, if you listen to the podcast at the beginning of last season, that Haaland absolutely battered me 3 hat tricks in a row. Like I went against him, and it was just wrong. I got the timing wrong. But then I was 35k overall in the second half of last season because I got my differentials right, and I think that's a great point and a great advice. What's your plan then? What's your strategy? We've had a conversation already on the podcast about chips, so everyone who's listening knows what we're doing already. What have you got left, and how are you going to use them now that Double Game Week 37 is confirmed? The purple on the Ben Crellin's chart here is confirmed. That's the fixtures that's going to happen.
I've got triple captain and I've got bench boost left. I played my wild cards very early in the first halves of each season to get myself situated. Barry saw my team a couple of weeks ago, and I put myself in a position where I didn't have to worry about the enormous blank game week that came along. I try and set myself up, and in all honesty, I know I'm never going to win. I'm not going to be competing and having 2,000 points at this point in the season. So I want to win my mini leagues. I want to win the cups in my mini leagues. Those are more fun to me for bragging rights than anything else. Absolutely. And I have won for the last few years in the mini league that my family and a lot of their friends are in. So, I have set myself up so that once the double game weeks come, then I can throw my bench boost in, or then I can throw my triple captain in. But triple captain, it hasn't performed for everyone the same way it did a few years ago when Salah gave everyone 90 points on that triple captain week.
Norwich and Leeds both at home. I remember it very well.
Yeah.
I hated it because I went for a differential. I had Andy Robertson.
Oh, Baz.
The game is fantastic, and even though the game still has a few issues. I think last week on the telecast you guys were talking about, Scott, you may have mentioned it. You were never in trouble with the budget. You never got close to the budget for the year that you were always under. And part of that is the game's fault. They dramatically undervalued Haaland. With 90-some% of the league owned Haaland, he should have been 16 million at least to make it somewhat, of a challenge to hold on to him. And if the game could make a couple of adjustments, maybe a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more variation in those budgets moving around. But secondly, getting these positions correct.
Yeah.
Many
midfielders and strikers, aren't they, really?
Exactly. I look at my Spurs and I see in an optimum Spurs lineup, Sonny's out on the left. Okay, so Sonny's a midfielder. They're going to put him there even though he's in the front. Timo Werner, however, is a forward playing in that exact same spot.
Yeah.
Richarlison and Darwin are playing in the same spot for their respective teams, and yet they're in two different positions. If they had more people in a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 listed as a forward, I think the game would change enormously because you would see more differential choices in, say, the midfield. And you would have to have more differential choices in the forwards roles if there were more than just the 4 or 5. Isak, Tony, Watkins, Haaland, Darwin. You can look at the vast majority of teams and pick your first 7 or 8, and that's that.
I think it's the point that Scott made last week was really interesting on the Harry Kane situation.
Yes.
Like the fact that he's obviously not in the league anymore, and then that left, I think, at the beginning of the year, Haaland, De Bruyne, Salah, and I think that was it that would double digit value. Yeah. It was crazy how cheap everyone was. And I said this at the beginning of the season, one of the early podcasts. I went, I don't care about price changes this year. I'm not even I'm not making early changes. I'm not doing it at any point because I don't need to. And I've still got 2 million in the bank or whatever it is now. It's I completely agree with that. Let's get on to, we need to just have a look at a bit of form. Oh, sorry. I want one more question for you guys. Sorry.
Sure.
Which of these double game weeks and which player are you going to use triple captain on?
I haven't quite decided yet. I'm going to wait and see because I think another complaint of the game is the fixture ratings. Why I'm sitting there in week 5 looking at fixture ratings for week 36 is insane. They don't know. They just don't know. So I'd like to get a little bit closer to it to see where injuries fall in. Foden gets hurt yesterday in Champions League. It could be somebody like Chris Wood, who is this year's Pookie.
Yeah,
that's a wonderful analogy. I think is a few years ago he was Pookie, scoring every week just under the radar. Who is hot at that moment coming in? Who is in perfect form? And the fixtures, all the stars align. If I had to look at my team and say, who is the best of all differential choices, maybe it's Ait-Nouri. If he gets healthy. Maybe it is Haaland, but he's been checked out this year. Salah is a lion in the zoo. He's not what he has been in the past. He scores, but he doesn't pull up hat tricks. He's a lion in observation in the zoo, but he's still dangerous and can still come back. I'll just have to wait and see who's in form coming into this.
I think if I had to pick one right now in terms of where I'll put my triple captain, it'd be on Cole Palmer in game week 37. Yes. I think that's my number one. And then, do you know what? Luis Diaz in game week 34 might be another one that's a lot of people won't have as a differential. But because I think everyone who's got their triple captain left will just panic and put it on Salah in game week 34. I think that's just what will happen if they're not using another chip.
One thing I'll just say really quick that I quite like. I think they should do something with the fixed difficulty. And we've said this before. Like you've got a team like Chelsea. Chelsea at home is not a red or whatever it is. So actually, 3 or 4 times a season, why can't they just do a fixture difficulty refresh? It will really. I'm not necessarily going to say it's going to help us, but it's going to help people that are maybe just getting into it, maybe not know as much about football, and actually be like, because they'll see like reds and they're like, oh my god, that seems really hard. We know Chelsea at home this season. That's actually a pretty easy fixture. So I think that's a good shout, actually.
On that point, I'd like if we could change it to a colour.
Well, that's what you can do on Fantasy Football Hub if you've got a membership, and obviously we're not sponsored by those guys, but you can, if you wanted to do that, you can adjust the amendments in terms of goal scored. They have it in an overall fixture difficulty, and they have attacking fixture difficulty and defensive fixture difficulty. So you can do that on there. But I mean, that's why we created our own in the middle of the season, didn't we? You know, I had a look at all the fixtures and just went through and thought who was, and the hardest fixture in the league when I did that was Aston Villa away.
Yeah, it's tricky.
And that was the hardest fixture. It's probably not quite there now, but that was the hardest fixture. So no, I totally agree. The FDR needs moving. Let's do some quick fight.
One second. Scott, who would you pick as your triple captain, since we've had Alex's opinion, just our potential guy here?
What, for game week 37?
Or 34. I mean, you think it's probably
34.
going to be a double game week if you're going to use it, aren't you, really? So
yeah. I love home fixtures though. I'm a bit of a sucker for home fixtures, and none of the teams are coming to me with a home fixture. Do you know what? I would maybe be tempted to go. No, I won't do that. You're an idiot, Scott, for doing that.
It's a whole other story progressing right there. I like that. Yeah.
That's literally Scott's brain right there. I've known Scott for a very long time. That's exactly how it works all the time.
Do you know what I would go for? Because City are not that tight this season defensively. I'd look at a Spurs essay. I'd maybe look at Son.
Yeah,
in 37.
That Burnley at home fixture is stinging, isn't it? Like that's a wonderful one.
Don't be surprised if people don't go for a Ben White or a Gabriel and play their Arsenal defense and see if that doesn't benefit them just as well.
Yeah.
That's who my triple captain would be on. Not on it'd be on Arsenal, I say. It would not be in the defence. It'd be King Kai Havertz.
What, in 34?
Yeah,
nice. There's not really any like single fixtures that really stand out here anymore either to use it. So great. Right. Well, let's have a quick look. And who have you got in the cup? Have you had a look who have you got in the cup guy? You've got Jimmy Barker. Jimmy's just had a newborn child. He's not looking at his team. I think he's got
congratulations to him.
Yeah, he's got like a 6-week-old.
You say that he's done two transfers last week. I think he's looking at his team more because he's got a lot of time in the middle of the night.
Is he still off work?
Paternity, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Jimmy. Oh, well, maybe you do have to watch out for that guy. You might be really unlucky that his son arrived just before you play him in the cup.
I would just say as well for him, he's got 3 Arsenal defenders. White, Gabriel, and Saliba. Wow.
Has he? Wow. Yeah. Wow. Well, he's got the best defense. Wow.
This is where it checks out. So I've got Saliba, I've got Gabriel. So now what we're talking about is who are those 4 or 5 that we might have different from each other. And that's where the challenge is going to be and who wins.
Absolutely. And that's what's really exciting about the cup. You know, we've all got something to play for. I'm really looking forward to getting knocked out this week by David Tomlinson. I can't wait. It's going to be great fun. I'm going to be sat there in front of the telly just sweating his team. All right. Hoping all of them don't play. Sorry, David, if you are listening. Thank you for tuning in. Let's do some quick fire on buy, sell, not interested in bringing in on these form players in the league. So there's a good handful here.
Buy, sell, bench.
Buy, sell, why not? Let's do that. I don't think any of these would be bench, though, would they?
Probably not. No.
If you've got a bench, unless they're you, because you've got such a stacked team and no defense. So I think what we've discussed Cole Palmer. I gave my opinion on Isak that I wouldn't buy him until game week 35. But let's. I think Palmer's an obvious buy, really. Isak, Baz, are you buying this week or holding off? Obviously, you're not going to buy him this week, but quick fire: buy or don't buy or avoid.
Avoid for now, like you mentioned, buying them game weeks 35.
Scott, buy or avoid?
Same.
Guy?
I brought him in for Tony.
There he is. That's it. I like that. That's
There's
good.
his differential there.
That is.
Yep.
Chris Wood, buy or avoid? That's...
If I had Munez in my team, I'd buy him.
Interesting. Scott?
Avoid. He's on his run. He's not that good.
Got 12 this season. Guy?
I agree. Every roller coaster comes down eventually, and he's had a great run, but it's time for him to come back a little bit to earth.
Yeah. And I
Remember how good he is.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
I like his Wolves fixture in the Everton away. So I'd say avoid, but I'm a bit more on the fence. We talked about Diaz, obviously Foden, De Bruyne, etc. Brereton Diaz, everybody, talk about a 0.1%. Let's talk about a differential player here. He got 18 points against Fulham. This guy, he's got good fixtures against Brentford and Burnley and Man United away. Let's all be honest, that's not a hard fixture this season. Fifth midfielder, Baz, buy or avoid?
I might even actually get him in game week 34 on a differential draft. So yeah, he's definitely on my radar.
Oh, when I lose this week, well, Scott's going to get him. Scott's going to lose this week, so Scott will pick him first next week. Scott, Brereton Diaz?
Avoid, but one thing I will say, Sheffield United look quite entertaining at the minute. There's lots of goals in the games, and they're scoring every week.
They've scored eight
yeah.
in their last 4, yeah, and they've drawn 3, lost 1. So they're not actually bad form either.
If I'm wildcarding and I need money, which I probably won't need, he's definitely someone I would have and just chill on my bench. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a buy if you're on a wild card, maybe as a fifth midfielder, especially if you're bench boosting in 34. Guy, your thoughts on Brereton Diaz?
Same. If I had him, I'd keep him. If I was on a wild card or wasn't some sort of opportunity where I could bring him in, maybe, but I'm not going to go chasing him, and I'm not going to sacrifice who I have.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one, we've got Ollie McBurney there as well, but let's ignore him for now because he's one of the biggest trolls in FPL history, I think. Bruno Fernandes, 11 points, 2 points, 8 and 9. Fixtures coming up: Bournemouth, Sheffield United, Burnley, and Crystal Palace. Baz?
I'd rather have Garnacho, so I'm avoiding.
Avoiding. He's got 1 goal less than Garnacho this season, by the way.
Yeah, it's just a value, isn't it? But you don't really, money's no object. But for me, I don't like him anyway as a player. He just irritates me. He's not captain material for me, but what do I think? Eric Ten Hag earns the coin, but I don't think he's a good manager anyway. But you know my feelings on him. So yeah, he's another fraud like Southgate. So yeah, so
quick fire, Baz.
Oh, sorry, mate. No, avoid. I said avoid.
Scott.
Do you know what? If you're looking to roll the dice, and if you've got like an outside chance to like claw your way back inside cashing in your mini league, I feel like a lot of people have gone Garnacho. He's gonna play every minute of every game. He's not a bad shout. I think he's a gamble bringing.
He's also on pens, and Rashford's getting rotated at the moment. If that's the case, for me, he's a gamble bring in as well. But if you're bench boosting in 34, he's not going to double anyway. Guy, your thoughts on Bruno Fernandes?
I agree with a lot of what Barry said. I am not a huge Fernandes fan. Watching him play, yes, I recognize that he can jump in there and get those penalty kicks, but he complains like a mother-in-law, and I just don't need to watch that every single week. So no, I don't want him on my team.
Try watching him as a Man United fan when he's complaining like that. It's very annoying.
My son-in-law is a Man United fan, so he's going to be making a face when he sees this.
Yeah, but the thing is, we had this conversation, didn't we, over on our WhatsApp group at the weekend? I mean, I have absolutely no idea how we ended up being 2-1 up in that game. I was sat there like, we don't have a midfield. I don't really know what's going on, and then we're just winning somehow. But we're such a our friend Liam Ormsby, who's used to play football himself. He texted me and he just went, I absolutely love watching Man United this year because you're a shambles and it's hilarious. It could be anything. He said, honestly, the most entertaining team in the league if you're not a fan, because they are just everywhere all the time.
I was worried what he was going to start with when you went, shh. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, where's the filter?
This is for children. I don't know the explicit tag.
Of all the things that I love, it's the British propensity for profanity that just makes me so happy. And now here we are pulling the ratings down. So.
Don't worry, after we've discussed captains and logged off, we'll swear a lot. So let's do captaincy. So deadline game week 33, Saturday, the 13th of April at 11 a.m. for the early kickoff. Newcastle against Guys Spurs live on TNT Sports in the UK. And then 3 o'clock kickoffs are Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley, Brighton, Man City, Luton, and Forest Wolves before United are on telly again. Away at Bournemouth, we got beaten by them at home earlier in the season, so that'll be a good fun game to watch, I'm sure. Liverpool, Crystal Palace on Sunday at 2 o'clock. West Ham, Fulham the same, and then Arsenal play Aston Villa at the Emirates in a huge title game, that one, in Super Sunday. And then Chelsea, Everton. I don't know what I would get from that game, actually. To be honest, I don't know how that could go either way. That Everton have got quite a good defence and can't score, and Chelsea can't defend and score lots. So who knows what's going to happen in that one on Monday Night Football. Barry, captain, where is your armband sat at this very moment in time?
It is sat on Haaland at the moment, but no, it's actually sat on Foden. Sorry, told a lie. It's on Foden, but obviously with that knock, I might change it to obviously Haaland. Just City's just formidable at home, so it's one of them where I don't want to miss the boat and Haaland grabs a hat trick, because obviously he's been a ghost in the last couple of games. So yeah, it's on Haaland. Well, Foden, but probably go on Haaland.
Scott, where's your sat at the moment, and what do you make?
Yeah, if that fixture was reversed, I wouldn't have thought to say this at the beginning of the season, because I'd be captaining a City play against Luton, regardless of where they were playing. But it's such a tough fixture away from home. I wouldn't captain Haaland, but yeah, he's got a lot of criticism after last night. I feel like he's got a point to prove, and he'll prove it because it's not a big game. Well, I suppose it is a big game. It's a big game for City. I think it's too scary. We've got Haaland in the team because of the fear factor. Well, you've got a captain, and then if you've got him in the team this game, so yeah, then. But you say Palace are too good. You are, and it does go. I will be watching that game, so it's like, do I want to watch my captain? So it's still quite close to me. I think 70-30 Haaland over Salah at the minute.
Yeah, mine's on Salah, and it's the two reasons we've just discussed. I think actually form, Salah is in better form than Haaland, so I think I'm probably on Salah. Again, high value player, can deliver. I know he's not been hitting the ceilings. A guy, you're right in what you say there. He's not been doing the double-digit returns really, but he's just that player that just returns, it seems, in every single game. And I'll be watching it, hopefully. So that does make a big difference from just the enjoyment factor of FPL for us. Where's your captain at the moment, Guy?
Palmer. No doubt he's hot as fire, and there's no reason not to have it on him, even with Chelsea acting sort of like a wandering town drunk half the match. You can always count on Palmer to find himself right there in the perfect spot. He is probably going to be a $9.5 million asset or $9 million asset. He'll be what Sonny was this year. Come next season, they'll move him up. He has to. He's too reliable.
It's weird because they did it with Bowen, but they only took him to like 8.5, and it was a bit weird. Like I feel like he might be maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it'd be somewhere between like 8 and 9.5. I don't know whether they'll put him between 8 and 9.5 yet, but it's be somewhere in that. He's such a buy. Still only 6.1 million is ridiculous. And it's just Everton's defense for me that makes me a bit. Well, I don't know, because it's just I feel like. Do you know what? I feel like Everton might win that game. It's just because it's.
But it could be a 3-2. It could be a 3-2 game. It could be a 3-2 game easily.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you've got him up front. Here he is. That's the man. He's going to deliver. Bars, this is where you pull me up. Have I forgotten anything this week?
No, you haven't. But I'd like to mention about Brentford's fixtures going forward. They look really tasty. Okay. Shame they don't go double game week.
I think that sometimes you overlook these people for this reason, don't you? Sheffield United, ignore 32 by the way, it's not graphic. Yeah, Sheffield United at home, Luton away, Everton away, Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, and then Newcastle at home. Yeah, strong fixtures. If you don't have a bench boost left, and you're not worried about having double game week players on your bench or whatever else, then they seem like a relatively good selection there. Baz. 2 Brentford players, Reguilon and Buemo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, if Alisson comes back, I'll probably be getting Flecken in.
Interesting shout. But right, lads, right. Let me wrap up here. We've done an hour and a quarter, and we didn't want it to go on too much longer because people stop listening and they get very bored of us, don't they? I'm sure. But no, thank you ever so much for joining us, guy. Really, really appreciate that. And
thank you, guys. It was a privilege. Thank you.
Oh, great, thank you. And it's and all the best for this week in the differential draft as well, and all the best in the cup. And thank you to everyone for watching us. Don't forget to give us a follow on our social media platforms, All in Football Pod and All in Football P on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Don't forget to give the YouTube video a like and also subscribe to our channel and give us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast from. And it's an absolute privilege, episode 100, to be talking about something that I love every single week with a bunch of mates, and we've had 6,500 downloads in over 100 episodes, and that's just very, very nice to hear. It makes it all worthwhile. Guy, thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Scott, thank you very much for joining us again.
You're welcome. See you at the after party.
And Barry, thank you once again.
Thank you, and I'm still waiting for my invite for this after party.
It's in Leeds, mate. Thanks a lot, and goodbye for now.